What's up, everybody? This is the Anime Squad podcast. My name is Robbie.
And this is David.
And unfortunately, Omar can't make it again this week. He has other important matters to take care of, so he'll definitely be back again next week. We're on week 11. Oh, and before we start, of course, be sure to drop in and join our Discord server. Would love to have you guys around. Again, just join. Leave any questions or comments or just kind of hang out with us. Definitely would help. Alright, I know start this off. We're still doing our 2-episode thing for My Next Life as a Villainess. And definitely more plot heavy. This is with these 2 episodes. The first one showed kind of what happened as a follow-up to in general with Katarina, with all the bullies and such, talking about how they were just like listing off all the different like horrible things that Katarina was doing. And my thoughts in general was just about like, hey, you know, maybe Katarina's whole shtick with this is to just show that like her original personality came back or something. We don't have any confirmation about that at all, but basically these girls that were originally bullying Maria were just listing off all these different horrible things that Katarina did, and how, oh, Maria, you're the one that was being bullied and stuff. But they weren't taking any of that. All the guys were just kind of there. All the group members were all there, and they were, you know, just kind of like seeing what was going on. And as the group and Maria were all like, you know, reading through the list and such, they were like, nope, that didn't happen at all. What do you know what you guys were talking about? And I was just kind of sitting there just thinking like, man, it's like that one scene from Gundam Wing. I was kind of expecting that, where like the one scene from Gundam Wing where the main character just kind of like rips it up like all stylistically wise. Didn't happen, but regardless, Maria was able to debunk all that, and they just kind of like darted off as soon as they were just like, oh, I gotta go. Oh, I didn't have nothing to do with this, even though we were the ones that bullied you. But there was definitely something sinister going on. They had like some like weird blackish aura stuff going on with them that only Maria was able to see, because they revealed as to kind of like what was going on. Not this episode, but again, getting a little bit too out of myself, but it's kind of obvious. It's kind of obvious. Okay, they already established that Maria is able to use light magic, and this dark magic stuff is going on. It's because of all the darkness. So it was kind of obvious that that's the reason why Maria was able to see. But anyway, so Maria was able to see that, and then as the group and everybody was kind of moving around to the courtyard, Maria notices that there was some more dark aura going on. And then my idea was that, okay, she's seeing all this. She, you know, like, oh, she should probably, like, you know, not go out by herself to kind of like check it out. That's what me and David were thinking, but then she does. And then I was thinking, okay, you know what, they were probably gonna like show like, hey, why isn't Maria coming back? No, they just cut the fat off. They immediately just said, oh no, Maria's gone. It's been 2 days. I was like, damn. They had no chill with that at all. But you know, for the better too, because they were able to at least progress the plot. But they were just kind of like moving on with the search party and everything like that, and the council also. Oh, the council actually was like they played like a little bit of a part in this as well, during the whole like reading the whole thing, the whole list of stuff that Katarina was doing. That was apparently a doom flag and such. So in general, like, Katarina was kind of like thinking like, man, these doom flags that have been like ticking off, what if it's kind of like doing it to all the other characters? So with that precaution in mind, she needed to kind of like tread her steps a little to kind of like figure out what the hell is going on. And Jordo, you know, being the protective fiance that he is, he wants to make sure that like, hey, whatever's happening, just don't go off on your own. Have us, or have me, kind of help you out, shelter you and everything. Katarina, being Katarina, she thought, okay, I'm just by myself. I could block this off, no problem. Go into my classroom. Hey, this reminds me of the time when I met with Maria and I became friends with her. Yay, let's kind of sit down, reminisce, everything. And then the student council president. His name is Sirius. Again, the same guy that was around. Very nice guy, right? He's not. He's not a nice guy at all. He it's revealed like later because it's revealed in that whole like meeting, I guess, because he was right there. He was like, "Hey, Katarina, what are you doing?" He immediately remembers like this past, like one of the past encounters that she had like in her past life. It's like, oh, the secret character. And what was it? David called it. It's like, oh, this guy's fishy. And I thought so too. I mean, to be fair, I thought this guy was maybe like a DLC character, maybe. But no, it turns out he's just a secret character. So, you know, thank God that DRM didn't exist in this game at all. And Fortune Lover, because he was in the base game, but he's just a secret character. But Katarina knows nothing about him, and he brings up, it's like, hey, do you have dark magic? Were you involved in the whole Maria thing? And he's like, no, not at all. Then he immediately just reveals, like, oh, nope, I am. I'm exactly what you think I am, and guess what? You're about to die. But he puts her into a big deep sleep, into a coma, and that was the end of that episode. But thank God we watched 2 episodes here in this podcast since we're catching up. Because the very next episode picks up from where we left off, except a little bit differently. We actually get to see what Katarina's past life was like. We get to see her whole face and everything, and kind of like what she looked like, and all of her stuff that she did before, living her life, you know, going to school. Meeting up with her friend Achan, and running away from dogs because she hates dogs. All of that good stuff, but unfortunately that's because, you know, she's kind of dreaming it up in a coma, all that bad stuff. Jordo, the whole gang is just distraught, and rightfully so, because, you know, you have Maria like just vanishing up and vanishing, and now Katarina's in a coma. What do you do? And then you kind of have this sweet, tender moment where, like, you see everybody's kind of like flashbacks of how they first met her and how, you know, she changed everybody's lives. And she was basically like, Katarina was basically like the backbone, the stitch, the core of kind of what made this group, which is funny because in the original game timeline, she was like everybody's like just bane of existence. Nobody liked her at all.
She was the bad.
She was a bad guy, yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see kind of like how things have changed with all that, and we still get to see like more of Achan like inhabiting Sophia's body, which is kind of weird. Like I thought she was reincarnated, but it kind of shows that like she has like a dual personality, which kind of didn't make sense. Like they did the whole bit where Achan was like talking to Sophia. It's like, hey, you know, it's like, go check her, go help her, go check it out. Like, let me talk to her. I didn't get that at all. I thought it was like, because I figured that Sophia was like reincarnated as like, you know, Achan, but I don't know. It was really weird. It was really, really strange. Didn't question it though, but kind of did. They all go and they said, okay, you know what? Let's just do it. Teamwork. Let's go. Let's try and wake her up. Not shake her though, but let Sophia do her magic or whatever. So in that little dream state that Katarina was in, Achan shows up and tells her, "Hey, this life is gone. This isn't your life anymore. Your life now belongs there, and your friends and everybody's right there." And hey, fortunately, with her, you know, about to wake up and everything, she even reveals, like, hey, Maria is in that storage room that the student council president's family apparently made. In that totally secret storage room that she knew about. So Achan came in, saved the day. Katarina woke up, and everybody had a party, except not really, because Maria's still missing. But with that knowledge, the whole gang was able to, rally up and go rescue her, because she was all holed up in that secret storage room. And I was kind of wondering, like, man, what kind of unknown catastrophe has befallen Maria? But no, she just kind of was chained up to a bed, No, not that kind of way. Not that kind of way. She just had her ankle like into a bedside. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Nothing weird happened. She was just kind of like held hostage there, as like like a refugee. Anyway, so that was like that one friend. That was like that one shot, and then she was immediately just like like freed from the chain or whatever. So she's fine. Nothing happened to her. She was just kind of like kidnapped there for a few days. But anyway. So Sirius is kind of like down there. He was kind of like lamenting on the fact that like, my life is all ruined because I'm darkness. He had a very edgy past, very dark past, and he didn't want anybody to understand him. No. So as I guess the darkness is consuming her, Katarina goes and is like, okay, I can be the one to save him, and then the episode ends. We don't know what's gonna happen. But what we do know is that we have one episode left, and that's going to be when we're going to figure out what's going to happen. So anyway, moving on to our next episode of anime, we got Gleipnir, and in Gleipnir, we have the aftermath of whatever the hell happened in the last episode, which was the whole forest fire, which thankfully, the whole forest didn't get burned down like I thought it would. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode, but I thought that the whole forest was going to be on fire and the animals were all not going to have a home. Fortunately, not the case. The fire was just only big enough to kill off all of Madoka, aka Gorilla Man's men. They're all dead, which is cool. And they only had like one mention of what happened with the telescope guy, and that was it. I love that because I did not like him at all. Nobody here did. So I'm glad he's gone and not even mentioned at all. But it was just a really mellow episode all around. There was no like real big fights or anything like that.
We get to see the main character's different person, I guess.
Yeah, like Shuichi himself is like more developing into like not to say like a yandere like Claire was, but he's definitely becoming more headstrong, more quote unquote assertive, I guess. He's definitely becoming more of his own person. Yeah,
like his own personality change.
Right. Yeah, he's getting like a more personality shift, which I think what it is becoming more of like his own original personality since he has his memory wiped or something like that. But overall though, pretty mellow. It turns out we got a couple of drops of information that it turned out Chihiro actually goes to the same school as Shuichi and Claire. And overall, yeah, Shuichi goes to the alien guy. He finds out more about he wants to know more about like how he can get himself back to normal, but then he kind of backs off. But then it also turns out that
because the reason why he backs off that because he loses what he gains from his new memories. So
right, and the reason why he confronted the alien in the first place was because he found out from that exchange, like from that day in school when he first found out the whole Chihiro thing, that his friend Abukawa was actually part of Gorilla Man's group, and he was also killed in that forest fire. But it kind of sucks that was revealed that way. I'm gonna be honest, because we never actually got to see him like in his in his transformed state or anything. We just saw him burying this dog, and then that was it. We didn't. I guess he wasn't really that big of a deal of a character, so whatever. Just forget him. So he confronts the alien about it. Shuichi confronts the alien about it, and then as he's going off, he's been realizing that like the sword guy from the group actually survives. He was actually stalking Shuichi, and when Shuichi leads him off into his junkyard, he's like, "Hey, okay, you can stop following me now. I know who you are." So they have a duel. As revenge stories go, it's like, "Oh, you killed my whole family. I don't care about the coins anymore. I'm gonna kill you." It's like, "Oh, you don't have your girl inside you. I'm gonna win," but he doesn't. And as he's like beaten senseless, and I guess he's also suffering from like the oleander poisoning from before, he tries to run off, but then Shuichi goes full on Terminator mode and just like shoots him right there. So that was cool. That was like the first time Shuichi actually killed somebody like knowingly, without having to like actually have Claire do it for him or anything. So that was pretty cool. That was like very character defining right there. And it's also really cool too because like Shuichi actually acknowledges the fact that like, hey, everybody has their own reasoning behind like doing all the killing and stuff. And the biggest information drop we got from this episode was just regarding with how this whole game started. And I don't know, to me it's kind of silly. So basically this girl, I guess named Honoka, she found the alien who showed off a different form. It's like, oh, I'm an alien. Oh. It's actually not. No, this is my human form. And she just brings up, hey, this coin right here can be put in that vending machine and you can bring people's wishes to life. It's like, oh, that sounds pretty fun. So we get that whole reasoning behind it because it was funny because me and David were talking about it. It's like, oh, how did this whole thing even start? And turns out we got that reasoning from this episode. It's because this one girl from high school goes and starts it. But then the most important part of that was the fact that she had a picture of her friends, and in that picture was Shuichi and Elena with the other people. And we get to see one of those people that, you know, we have no idea, you know, we haven't been introduced yet or anything. And this guy has like a whole like lion mane thing going on with his hair and everything. I don't know, it's kind of weird. And he just kicks so much ass. Like, he just like right off the bat, he summons like this weird stand and slices off all these like, you know, randoms' heads off that was trying to like jump him. And it turns out that the stand, I guess, is modeled after the girl that had that first thought up of this whole game in the first place. And then the episode just ends. So again, leaves a lot of mystery, but again, not much really happens in this episode. But overall, I guess it was pretty cool. Not for an episode 11, but it was pretty cool nonetheless. Okay, and then moving on to the next episode of anime, we have Tower of God. We get more information about what was going on in that last part of the episode with Bam. He's looking straight at the fish from the first episode, but then he wasn't, because it turns out it was just him looking deep into himself. I think that's what I got. I don't know if that was actually what happened, but that's kind of what I thought. I don't know, this whole the way the episode was structured was really weird because it was kind of hard to keep up with. Like, it was kind of jumping from scene to scene. So after that, like a couple minutes of him talking to that big fish, he comes out and then he talks with the chairman, and Rachel was there too, and then they talk about the real test that's going on. And then as that test was going on, the
whole episode is literally the test.
Yeah, it was the test, but not the administrator test, the regular test. Everybody else was taking that, you know, Rack, Unux, and Dorsey, Shibisu. They were all there. They were all doing their own thing, and it involves like catching these dolphins that are seals. They're seals. They're not dolphins. They're seals. Yeah. It's annoying.
No, they're dolphins, man.
Yeah, totally. They're dolphins. Seals are just these shark-looking things.
They're fake. What are you talking about?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then they have to fight off this bull that's not a bull. It's like a weird human alien thing with a one eye and a side mouth. I don't know, it's weird. Very, 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 I don't know, HP Lovecraftian kind of thing, but it eats people kind of, but it wanted to eat the dolphin seal thingy, and then Shibisu like tries to attract its attention, but then Dorsey and Anak get in, they square off with each other, but then they kind of like take turns. They don't take that thing seriously too much, because, you know, why should they? They're powerful. Shibisu's just kind of, you know, he's just a fodder, you know, he's just a dude that just kind of, it's just kind of funny. And then what else? Like I said, it's all over the place, because you have like Rack and the Piccolo dude kind of like staying up at the top to take out these goblins, because these goblins
they were just bored. They were just standing by.
They're standing by, yeah, because they're the spear guys, so they have to like act as standby. And then you have the reconnaissance. You have Laure, the sleeping bag dude, and you have the little like blonde girl who are acting as reconnaissance because she can like actually control animals. Now, the one piece of info that was actually really important was when Kun was kind of scoping everything out in his little computer room. He was asking her, it's like, hey, animas, they can control animals, right? And she's like, yeah. And he brought up, it's like, hey, could they also control bulls or, whatever? And she said, yes, but technically speaking, only a ranker can do that. And so that kind of sparked some ideas from that. Later, of course, we find out that is the case because as the fight with the bull goes on, it turns out that the bull itself had some unnatural power-ups. And how is that possible? Well, because
it first ran away.
Well, yeah, it was running away. It got its ass kicked at first, and then it ran away. And Dorsey was the one that kind of, was just kind of playing around with it, not taking it seriously. But then she goes after him, and he was ambushing her and everything. And turns out he got a big buff of strength and everything. But overall, it turns out he was just being controlled. And who was controlling him? Boom! It was actually the sheep sensei dude that was actually not the sheep sensei because he's from the guard that is supposed to kill any abnormalities. And what abnormalities are we talking about? Well, it's Anuk, of course, because Anuk is not an actual princess of Jihad. So, what do you do about that? Well, easy. You just have to kill her, because her birth itself was a mistake. Brings Endorsi over, knocks her unconscious, and gives her the sword that Anuk had originally, Green April, and says, okay, use this sword, kill her now. Now, this is where the episode ends. Now, you might be thinking, why am I not talking about Bam or Rachel in this case? Well, that's because the entirety of the episode literally has Rachel and Bam kind of in this weird virtual reality bubble, staring at fish and just talking about their past experiences. They didn't really add much to the story at all. They just kind of like did their own thing. As far as I can tell, the main bulk of the episode was just mainly between Anuk and Endorsi and kind of like what they were going through with this whole assassin. And Rack and the Piccolo dude was there. Oh, Piccolo dude messed up hard though, because the goblin was just kind of going for them. He just chucked the spear right there. It was like, oh no, my hand slipped, and they just have to run away. Nothing of value really happened.
I don't think his hand slipped. I feel like
he was controlled.
Yeah.
He says that like, oh, my hand kind of moved on its own. I think that was just an expression. I don't think that was.
So?
Yeah, that's kind of weird though. I was like, I feel like it's just kind of an expression. The dude is cowardly. He was willing to just kind of abandon everybody. So.
Yeah, but I don't think he would have chucked that shit perfectly.
I guess not. Because the guy's not really that important in the power height, in the power tier or anything. So who knows really?
And then with the Anuk thing, it was pretty crazy because
the Anuk one that one definitely caught my attention.
She was pretty much pushing the sheep dude was pushing way too much on her.
Oh yeah.
She
did not have a chance. The way he even introduced her was just a matter of, hey, you're not. It's like the real Anuk. It's how your mom was the real Anuk, and he brings up the fact that he has the necklace and everything. So that immediately just kind of just like set her off right then and there. Like no questions asked. Like he knew that okay, this dude is about to die. But the tables are of course turned, and then that's how we led into the whole getting Endorsi to kill her. So what's gonna happen next episode?
Yeah, and Endorsi was fighting the what was it called? The bull, but the bull was
bull
too powerful.
Yeah, the bull. Like I said, the bull just got a power buff.
But then she realized that this is not the bull that she fought before.
Well, I figured it just got a power buff because it was the same bull, but it just got a buff because of the sheep dude. Guy. Yeah.
No, I think he controlled it.
Yeah, he was controlling it. Yeah, no, that was confirmed. Yeah. Like that's why I said like Anuk Kun bringing it up was kind of what led to that, because that was kind of like an illusion in a way. Mm-hmm. It was alluding to that happening. But yeah, that was a pretty good episode. It was, again, we'll have to wait until what happens next episode to see what will happen. Okay, and then the next anime we're going to be talking about is Princess Connect Redive. This episode is also another wholesome episode. Well, mostly wholesome. It starts off with Pecorine trying to wake Carol up because, she just wants to take her nap. She wants to take her cat nap. You don't want to have to deal with this. But as soon as Pecorine realizes that she's now opening the door, she just gets super worried. And Carol's like, oh, yeah, I'm already up. And then, bam! She crashes through the window and, like, just messes up her room. But more importantly, messes up the doll.
The real question is that how did she get up there?
She probably jumped.
She went She went with a good dash and then a high jump and then through the window.
She Mario triple jumped. That's what she did. Yeah, she just immediately went for that dash and then just tore through the window, but of course not before destroying her stuffed animal. And that just destroyed her right there. Carol was like, "Oh my god, Pecorine, you darn did it again! You destroyed my stuffed animal like that."
What does she call him? Dumb Pecorine?
Dumbarine.
Dumbarine.
Yeah. I read that when it said that at first. I read it as Dumbledore.
Oh god!
I was like, Dumbledore. So Pecorine promises, they'll go into town, they'll try to fix it. But as that was going on, turns out there's some shadowy figures around, but figuratively and literally.
The shadows came back.
Yeah, the shadows come back in this episode. Not really with an organized motive like from the arc before when they were featured. But they were still kind of just being a nuisance all around. But unfortunately, our heroes aren't the ones that take care of it. It's actually a different faction. And it seems to be the past group that Yuki was hanging out with before. That's as far as I can kind of tell. Overall, with this second group, they know much about him, but not the other way around for obvious reasons, because Yuki's kind of amnesiac. But yeah, with this whole shadow thing kind of being a problem, Yuki kind of goes in on his own. Thankfully, doesn't get too hurt because his big sister comes in. I forgot what their names were. I'm gonna put it up on the screen as kind of like these characters kind of progress. But the big sister comes in and saves him, but not before kind of dashing it on her own, because it turns out that they're supposed to be his protectors. Even though he doesn't remember them, they're still out to watch his back. And from this group that we have, that was again Yuki's previous group, we have Yuki's big sister and we have Yuki's little sister. Now, what's funny about the little sister is that the little sister is really brash, kind of like a tsundere type. But as soon as she kind of like goes too crazy, the big sister immediately just headbutts her, and then she immediately forgets what happens. And I was just kind of joking, being like, okay, you know what? Maybe he's not the true amnesiac. Maybe it's her. Because just imagine how many times she did that, and then she just kind of like it's like full-on memory wipes. It's like Men in Black every time. It's just like, look into the light. Done. Loses her memories. But yeah, so overall, the main conflict of this episode, well, besides, of course, the whole sewing thing, to kind of fix the doll, is Yuki himself. Yuki is a very big part of the episode, kind of like understanding his past, more or less. And after this whole shadow squabble happened, Yuki and Kokoro go get a hot dog, which is actually what the episode itself is based off, named off of. And oh my gosh, Kokoro just adorable. Every time like she tries to help out Yuki, trying to clean up, clean his face and everything like that. She goes in, gets a little paper towel, gets a rag, and tries to wash it off.
Was it before that, or before that?
It was no. The shadow incident happened before that. Before the hot dog.
The Carol.
Oh, Carol, I think that was kind of happening as the episode was going on. Like it started off with Carol like being at home, and she said, "Hey, I should probably go check in with Master, because she's reporting to her Dark Lord to observe Pecorine." But as she was doing that, she grabs a handful of flowers. She realizes, oh, these flowers are really pretty.
Okay,
and
now,
takes it
now
to
I
the
remember.
castle.
That's a bit later on.
That's a little bit later, but I feel like it can kind of be inserted pretty much anywhere in the episode because that's Carol's side of the story.
Yeah, that was its own thing.
That's its own thing. Yeah, it has no bearing in what was going on with Yuki or the others. But going back with Yuki, so as Kokoro was trying to wash up her rag, the little sister was right there, kind of with this dark aura, just kind of like hiding in the background, and she immediately confronts Kokoro about it. Like, oh, what are you to my big brother? Who are you? What are you doing here? All this kind of stuff. And so as the little sister was going crazy, big sister comes in and headbutts her, just Doinks. Amnesia, yeah.
Keeps doinking
Keeps doinking her with her head, yeah, just that full-on amnesia.
those impacts though, they're hilarious.
I know, those are great. It has that like nice crunchy sound, and then she just kind of like sees like birds for a little bit. Oh, birds. Oh. And so they kind of introduce themselves. They all have like formal introductions and stuff. But as they were kind of like peering off to kind of like see what Yuki was doing, they realized the hot dog fell down, and so Yuki is more than likely in trouble. So they ask around the village. The villagers say, "Hey, I saw this guy. He got kidnapped, but ain't looking too good, boss. He's probably dunzos." So with that information, they go in and confront this big, heavily guarded castle. They go into the castle and realize that it wasn't even Yuki that was being strung up. It was one of the bandit dudes that became Pecorine's friend. Charlie is his name, the guy with the weird blonde hair dude thingy. But the thing that got me was the fact that the boss was actually the same Bubble Bass dude, the big fat dude, and he's okay. So originally when we saw him, he was really big. He was really big. He came in. He had a presence. But then the next episode, he became skinny, and he kind of went from Bubble Bash to being Dalsum. But now this dude comes in, and he's back to his original self, but even larger. And by larger, I'm literally like he's like somebody grabbed like a giant ray from Honey I Blew Up the Kid and just made him huge. And he has this hot girl like on his neck too. Like it was like weird. It was like seeing Jabba the Hutt, man. It was weird. So, but as soon as they see him though, as soon as he sees Pecorine, he's like, oh no.
At the end, it just cuts to them surrendering.
Yeah, they just surrender right off the bat.
They give up the dude.
Yeah, so technically speaking, it was kind of pointless to show that, but these guys are great though. I like these background characters. So since this whole fruitless endeavor happened, they go to the guild and decide to put up a little ransom note. And the ransom, not the ransom note, but the lost and found note. And the lost and found has this funny picture of Yuki. He's just kind of like a little stick figure. It's kind of adorable. But lo and behold, as they put up the poster, it turns out that Yuki was just fine all along. A little scuffed up, but not too bad. And he actually did a really difficult quest. The reason why he did a difficult quest, well, it's pretty simple. As he was
going
eating,
back to the hot dog.
Going back to the hot dog, as he was eating the hot dog, he realizes that that one crazy girl from the hospital is here. Immediately drops it, runs away, and as soon as he hit a wall, guess what? It was the bulletin board, and it had all the jobs. And the one he came across was this rainbow silkworm quest, and he did it all by himself. He defeated the boss. Almost got eaten, but he went and conquered, and he got the goods. And yeah, things were kind of peachy for Yuki, and you know him not dying, which thankfully I think I should have addressed this before, but we got a comment from the last episode talking about the what happened in the episode after, and yes, he actually he was regurgitated back, and he is among the living, which is why even though he died last episode, he is alive, you know, in this episode, thankfully. I just thought I needed to address that. But yeah, all's well that ends well. Oh, and of course, with Carol, when she grabbed the flowers and such. Again, this happened like in between the main plot of what was going on, so it doesn't really have much bearing. She goes to see her master, and it turns out her master is kind of, you know, focusing on making more shadows, and this time with masks, and they're called personas. Not my word, that's theirs. I'm telling you, that has nothing to do with me. I get it. But, and of course you have this classic trope of like, oh, this dark ominous shadow was walking past and the flowers I had are all dying. She didn't like the flowers, and Carol's starting to have second thoughts as to whether or not this is just, you know, something that she should even be doing anymore. But as she was kind of bummed out and goes back to the house, the guys were coming back. The group themselves were coming back.
She got to the house. No one was there.
Yeah, she got to the house. No one was there, and she was kind of bummed out.
Yeah.
And as she was kind of like the realization that he was there, that's when the group came and they said, "Hey, welcome back. We're back." And things are kind of well.
And then I guess they showed that they sewed the teddy bear with the rainbow.
Yeah, they showed that they fixed the teddy bear.
Yeah, was holding the teddy bear.
They fixed the stuffed animal. It has the little silhouette of the rainbow silk and everything. Because it turns out that the thing that Yuki did, the quest, actually involved the silk itself. So they were able to actually patch it up there. So that was really sweet. Oh, and of course, even though the episode was over, we did see what happened afterward, and it turns out that the master of those two sisters were also talking with one of the, I don't know, gods or such, talking about this great calamity of some kind that was about to go on, and that was pretty much the episode. We got to see that part, so if you guys leave a comment regarding whether we saw the whole thing, there you go. We saw the whole episode. Okay, and now moving on to our next anime is, of course, BNA, Brand New Animal. And this, of course, is continuing a plot line that is super deep, because the mayor is in a lot of deep shit in regards to the human government, and Shiro is a wanted criminal working with the mafia. With that being said, what else could possibly go wrong? Well, at first, nothing much, because Nazuna decides to just come out with the truth. Say, hey, I'm a human. You guys are summoning. You guys were worshiping me as Ginro, and you guys are going to the live event. Which, by the way, that's actually really interesting. That the Ginro organization or so makes an idol event with Nazuna, and kind of makes this into this huge gig that's supposed to happen, and it also coincides with the fact Nazuna wants to be an idol and everything. So that whole thing is set to go off, and in that they were thinking, it's like, oh, I'm gonna be admitting to the fact that I'm a human. It's gonna go great. It's gonna be. Have us tight knit. It's gonna be great. But of course, Shiro realizes that no, this is definitely not a good idea. So him and the mafia go in, and they kind of more or less storm the stadium as to where the show is happening. Show is gonna be a huge deal, huge deal. To the point where Michiru's caretakers even build a mech. They build a robot for Ginro. So it was a huge deal. As being televised, everything was gonna go unhitched. But as Michiru was able to use her second animal, she was able to transform, sniff out what was going on, because she thought she saw Shiro. Shiro disappears, so she transforms into a wolf and sniffs out his scent. Turns out he's actually here, and he confronts him right when he was about to go into position with the gun and everything. And she was like, "No, you can't shoot her. No, no, no." And he actually explains as to what was actually going to happen. And he explains, like, hey, if she explains to everybody that she is actually a human and not Ginro, shit's going to go down. And there's going to be a lot of people just going kaiju mode, just going berserk. Like, everybody in the stadium is gonna be affected by this negatively. Because that apparently was what triggers it, is that negative emotion. Realizing that this is actually going to be a huge problem, Michiru is just like, okay, you know what? Let's I'm gonna make sure to make this right. I'm gonna make sure to actually get to Nazuna and let her know that we can't do this at all.
Well, all of that is happening. Boros is just leading his direction. Like, yeah. How he wants this to happen.
Yeah, because Boris is completely in on this. I mean, it's already pretty much confirmed that Boris and Alan are all like one faction. So with that, Boris is just basically trying to ready this whole thing up. He's trying to speed things up. He's trying to say, okay, you can go ahead and say it right now. The crowd is at this peak level of excitement. I know it's a little early, but just go ahead and say it right now. And as she was about to say it, Michiru hijacks the mech and just says, "Hey, don't do it." And Nazuna thankfully understood, and she actually doesn't do it. But then immediately, as she was kind of like saying, like, "Hey, thank you for the support and everything like that," she diverges all that. Boris comes in and just messes everything up. Of course he would. He has proof and everything that Nazuna was a human.
He's a phony,
and everybody just goes full on riot mode. And it's not just like I said, not just like regular riots, but full on kaiju
Wolf
mode.
Jesus.
Yeah, she's not Wolf Jesus, and everybody just goes full on kaiju mode. And as that kaiju mode goes off, actually a little bit before the kaiju mode goes off. Yeah, I know. Shiro goes off and goes and tries to. Shiro actually tries to go around and is confronted by the police. But when that happens, the whole medical, like this Alan Silvasta droids or whatever, they're like literally right there. Because again, this is all organized. The whole Shiro, the whole Ginro cult and Alan Silvasta pharmaceutical company, they're all in on this. They know what's about to go down. And so with that, they just organize everything, and everything is just kind of going south. Everybody turns into big, giant, burly animals, and the droids are just coming in and just injecting all of them and just sedating them. Like, it's just a nightmare. All in all, and then Nazuna being the whole target of all their rage and anger and everything. Michiru is actually having to, rescue Nazuna, and it's just awful.
And then with the actual Wolf Jesus.
My gosh, yeah.
Flashback.
Shiro gets flashbacks, yeah. And it's all while the mafia is really cool too. Like,
before this happened, he had his posse. It looked like a posse.
Yeah.
They looked like a mafia group and shit.
They had the group and everything, and they were just they just looked like they were ready to kick so much ass, yeah. And they were too, because they didn't transform. They were just kind of like shooting around. They're taking names.
Because in this episode, he's not wearing. He's not a detective wearing a jacket.
Yeah, he has this like leather jacket and everything. Yeah, that's really cool. But unfortunately, as he's getting those like horrific flashbacks, he loses himself too.
No, well, he was fighting most of them, but he couldn't stop these robots. There was way too many robots for him to stop.
It was just it was just a nightmare for him. Yeah.
Just everyone was just changing, and everything that was happening. He was like, he didn't want the people, the Beastmen, to turn just back to humans.
Yeah.
like we said earlier, the flashbacks were just hitting him, and it was just hitting him and hitting him and hitting him until he finally became the creature and stuff.
The creature from within, yeah. But yeah, so it was just awful.
Michiru comes in.
Yeah, it tries to knock some sense into him, but unfortunately, okay, he didn't eat her all the way, but you know, she takes a bite out of her, and that's where the episode ends. It's so have to wait and see. Next episode is gonna be the last episode, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm calling this right now. They're gonna go into space. This is a Trigger anime. They're gonna go into space, but I don't know yet though. We will see. We'll see what happens. All right, and the next episode of anime we have is Sing Yesterday for Me, and it actually starts off really weird because I didn't even know this was gonna lead off into this. So you start off with the police, like outside of Haru's house, and it turns out that Haru's house was actually ransacked. Well, not ransacked, but a burglary had happened, and she called the cops. Cops came, and Riku was the only person that I guess was kind of like in the vicinity that she wanted to call, and Riku showed up and said, hey, you know, I get, you know, you're really scared right now, so I'm just gonna, like, you know, if it's okay, I'll stay over here and I'll help you out. I'll stay the night and help protect you.
At first he was thinking about it, but then she you know, she felt alone. She didn't want to. You can't leave this defenseless girl, but you know.
Yeah,
alone,
you know, he wants to be chivalrous. So
he ended up staying over.
Yeah, so you think that what happened with this is kind of gonna gain points for the Haru meter, but actually, kind of the opposite, because later we see that Riku and Shinako.
No, but pretty much what we saw in that beginning part is like, I'm just staying just to take care of her.
Yeah, it was just to take care of her.
Because then
nothing.
Wake up in the morning and he left.
Yep. And after he left, Shinako and Riku were actually able to go to each other's houses.
No, to the
much
market,
more frequently.
man.
Oh no, the market. Oh, the market happened. Yeah, you're right. The market. Oh my goodness, I have to just mention this right now, but the market just looks so photorealistic. It was just insane with just how realistic it all looked. Like, it looked like I was actually there. It looked like an actual Japanese thing. And then after the market scene was when they were at each other's houses. Well, it was Riku in Shinako's house, and then Shinako got a call from Ro saying that, like, hey, we have fish and stuff, and if you want to prepare it for us. It was really weird too. Like, the whole exchange was handled so awkwardly. Like, it was like Shinako wasn't even going straight with the fact that, hey, I have company at the house. I was just thinking to myself, why not just tell them outright that that we have company here? It doesn't make sense that he's like right there, but, and like, you just kind of.
Does she have feelings for him, or do you think it will hurt, or?
Yeah,
I was still confused. I was questioning myself, not the anime at that point. I'm like, what? It
was kind of dumb all around.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
No, not only that scene, but throughout the whole episode.
Yeah, it was a lot of weird instances just going on in general. Riku, being the nice gentleman that he was saying, "Hey, should I just go?" And Shinako's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, but." Ro is gonna have his exams, so that's why I kind of need to like be around him and help him out. But thankfully, I guess we cut to another, night where it was actually the opposite, and Shinako was actually at Rikuo's house. They drink and everything. And as Shinako was leaving, Rikuo was kind of buzzed and about to go in for a kiss, and she says, "Not yet." Now, when she said that, I actually didn't know that they were a couple, like actually legit a couple. I guess the exchange that they had like the previous episode was just enough for them to actually start going out. But the fact that
I guess time has passed.
Time has passed. Yeah, apparently okay, so not to go too ahead of myself, actually, just to continue off from the scene. So
Like,
they're talking and everything.
Because we were confused at a point too, where it was like, was this the next day when
I didn't know. Yeah.
left? Yeah.
I legit didn't know. So Haru was.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about Haru.
Yeah. No, I know this is mostly a Shinako episode.
Yeah.
But Haru was actually coming back, and then she had like some goodies and stuff that she wanted to.
This was an important part that we skipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
Anyway, so she goes. I'm glad Omar's not here. So Haru brings in the some goodies and stuff to give to Rikuo.
She goes to her job, and then she
Oh yeah. Well,
she makes the special.
She makes a chocolate cake. Yeah.
The Haru chocolate cake.
Yeah, and it looks really good. And he goes to Riko's apartment, and then she realizes that she's hearing other voices. And voices actually Shinako. And Riko comes out. Shinako comes out, and things get super awkward. By that I mean Haru gets the sudden realization that Shinako kind of won. Yeah. Haru is mentioning
the expression she gives, and then she goes behind him.
Oh my god, it hurts. It honestly hurts, and it was so interesting too, because like me and David predicted that she's just gonna drop the bag and just run off, and she actually does. Like about to drop the bag for a moment. She almost drops the bag, and then she picks it up and she tries to play it off, and oh my gosh, it hurts. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just glad Omar wasn't here, because this would have torn my man's heart up in two. On top of like Haru, and it was just, yeah. So, okay, I'm just getting a little bit emotional here, but so Shinako explains that like so Haru quote unquote understands like what happens and everything, and then we move on past this, past what was going on here, and that's when they explained that like Haru and Shinako and Rikuo were actually going out for 3 months.
For 3 months, yeah.
3 months. So apparently, in between the New Year's and now is 3 months. So that's a crazy amount of time that went by, and it was a lot of just like small things after that. After this exchanges,
I guess like later on, the what's her name again? The short haired girl.
Shinako. Yeah.
She goes with their friend to the bar.
Yeah.
And the friend asks like, what have you guys
done the thing yet? And I thought it was actually just sex. I honestly thought it was just them like, just doing that,
or done anything,
or just done anything in general. But apparently, they didn't even kiss.
Your big thing. Yeah.
That was my thing. Yeah, I was just thinking like, they have to have done something, because I didn't even know they were dating.
Because he tried to aim for a kiss.
Yeah,
like we said earlier.
When he was buzzed, he was actually trying to aim for a kiss. Yeah, but then she said they weren't ready yet. So that's when I was thought, okay, what's actually going on? And that's when we discovered as the audience that they were actually going out.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
And I was just saying they're just super friends.
I know.
But he even says it in the anime.
Yeah, they're just really, really, really good friends now, besties.
Yeah, but
it's not even friend zone. I guess they're going out by definition, but it's just wholesome.
But he's trying. He's trying to make it more. But I guess it's on her.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
It's something else. But the real how should I put it? The real spice to this episode. So remember, guys, that Haru was the one that found out about this in her own way. However, as Rikuo is outside of Shinako's apartment, and Shinako kind of jokingly says,
"We forgot."
Ro
was Ro?
Ro? Yeah, Ro.
He was he graduated and stuff, and
so he needs help moving out and moving to his own place.
Yeah.
So Rikuo was actually trying to just trying to set up some dates and stuff, and it just kind of feels all natural. It's like, I can't make it because I have to help out Ro. Ro move, and he said, that makes sense. Oh, that's understandable.
Because he at first he wanted to go to the aquarium with her.
He wanted to go to the aquarium with her, have a good time,
make something good.
Yeah, just have a good time in general.
But then that's when she came up with all the, I guess, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Just all the excuses. But when they go to Shinako's apartment, Shinako invites him over. He humbly declines, and then as she said, "Oh, okay," Riko's like, "Hey, I just noticed you kind of took that sigh of breath right there when you said I was like, I can't make it." And as that happened, Ro was right there, and he gets the sudden realization that, wait a minute, these two are dating. So, and that's kind of where the episode ends. We don't know as to whether or not how he's gonna take it. Definitely not similar to Haru, because Haru and Ro are quite different in regards to how they
get pissed.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get super duper pissed, and he's gonna be really vocal about it. But that was the episode of Sing Yesterday for me. We'll just have to wait and see, and thankfully we have 5 more episodes after this, so we have a lot more in store. Now, next episode is Kaguya-sama Love is War, and usually a lot of goofs and gaffs. This anime is goofs and gaffs incarnate. But man, this episode hit hit different.
Yeah, man.
In a good way.
This one was there was no comedy in this one, man.
There was no comedy, and instead it was an episode dedicated to our boy Yu Ishigami.
Yup.
And
his backstory.
Yeah, so a couple.
So I guess to show why he is what he is right now. Oh well, in the past episodes, know, why he's always down and why is he always, always quiet.
He's very distant, distant. In general.
In this episode, we finally get a lot of info of him and his history.
A lot of info is definitely understating it, because oh my gosh. So a couple episodes ago we actually had a little bit of backstory as to kind of like what his whole deal was about. He punched this girl's boyfriend, and he got in trouble, and so he was basically suspended throughout the whole rest of the year, and he wasn't allowed to come back, and which basically carried on over to his high school years.
Prior to that, the whole reason and all that, because he liked the girl.
Yeah, which actually gets explained in this episode way more in detail, because it turns out that the girl that he was trying to protect and everything actually shows up, and given the context of kind of what went down and everything like that, she never really forgave him, and because of that lack of forgiveness, he realizes that, wait a minute, I'm not deserving of any of this, because he was actually having fun, because it all starts off with the whole cross-dressing thing that was established a couple episodes ago, where Ishigami is trying to like cross-dress for the event, for his cheerleading event. But as he was having fun, that was when the whole reality hit him, that he's basically meant to suffer and not really have like any of that happiness, because of his past sin that he did. And the sin that he did was, went more into detail in regards to what was going on. So basically, to give a gist of what happened, he was in middle school. He was pretty much a loner, but he had a lot more of a positive outlook in that regard. His sense of justice was really big. And he notices that this girl that was in his class was really nice to him, and she would always try to give him motivation and such, and always talk to him about him and all that stuff, and he felt that little joy from that. Later on through the years, she gets a boyfriend, and he said in his words, if it is anybody else, he'd get sick in the stomach, but for her, he was actually content, and he was actually happy with the fact that she found happiness. But he later discovers that the boyfriend is actually not all that he seems to be.
Cheater.
He's a cheater. And he's a 2-timer swindling bastard. and he plants a microchip, tries to actually uncover what the hell he was all about. And it turns out, yeah, he's a definite grade A scumbag. This boyfriend was. He's a popular kid. He's a captain of the theater club or whatever, and yeah, all kinds of messed up. Messed up to the point that Ishigami, when he confronts him about it, he's like, okay, just let her go. If you're gonna do what you gotta do, if you want to keep going out with her, you should just stop with this whole cheating shenanigans and just do what you gotta do. He's being a good guy about everything. But then, of course, the bastard boyfriend pulls up his phone. He's like, hey, you know what? Well, if you want, I can give you like a little bit of if you have a little bit of fun, It's like, hey, look at this, right? Jeez. And that just made his blood boil and just started beating him up. I was actually super happy when he was doing it, because I was like, just mess him up, And unfortunately, it was just all like kind of messed up on him, because as he was beating him up, she comes in, the girlfriend comes in, she was just confused as all hell, and there was a crowd, and all around it was just awful. Nobody understood what the context was, and they were just thinking that Ishigami was just gone psychotic. And so they just kept calling him names, and the theater guy was, since he's in theater, he was pulling out an act that, this is all, he was beating up on me. He came up with this whole thing, and all throughout that I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, this is in a lot of ways, this kind of reminds me of...
They were all believing him.
Yeah, they were all believing this asshole boyfriend. And in my eyes, I was just thinking, like, man, this just really reminds me of Persona 5 with how that starts and how he gets framed for something that he wasn't really involved in.
And it's so upsetting, because he's trying to tell the truth, like, as much as he can.
Yeah.
No one believes him.
No one believes him. Everybody had their back turned, including, and what's worse, including the girlfriend.
The girl he liked.
The girl that he liked. But the one thing that even though he was bullied because of what he did, people were putting trash in his locker, and despite all of that, the teachers were just chastising him, like just criticizing him, just yelling at him and abusing him and everything like that. Despite all of that,
and they told him to write a
letter of apology.
A letter of apology to the guy.
And he was like, he tried so many times to think up of an apology or to just rat out the bastard that he was. He was like, I can't do it. He never did. And all throughout middle school, he just would not be able to write down anything at all. But
you see the struggle, and he kept pushing himself, trying to write it, but I picture the SpongeBob thing where he writes,
the essay.
I'm doing it.
But he just keeps erasing everything, and before then,
it wasn't working.
Time just goes on. He realizes that I'm really sorry for what I did, but I can't apologize. I just cannot apologize for what the hell happened. He stuck with his guns. Even as he was going into high school, he would not write that apology.
And he was locked up. He was locked up in his room.
Yeah, he locked himself in his room.
He chained himself and nailed the door just nailed the door.
Mm-hmm. But of course, the one ray of light that came in that backstory was Shirogane. Shirogane was the one that came in. He understood the gist of what happened. He read his file, and he realizes that what you did was an act of protection. You tried to protect this girl, and you ended up suffering for that. You had no return. You had no reason to do so. And so he looks at the apology.
This guy.
I know.
Got to me.
He wrote down, "Go to hell, dumbass," on his thing. And oh my god, when Ishigami saw that, he teared up, and
I balled up too, man.
Yeah,
Those tears came.
it was just so emotional, and
Yeah, because
in general, it made me tear up.
We went through all of that. All his pain was right there, man. We went through the whole roller coaster.
Yeah, it was. Again, not so many goofs and gaffs, but oh man, they did this one really good, especially with Ishigami, and that's when it got to him. You know what? That's all in the past.
And then when he gets out of his his dream thing.
Yeah, he gets out of that, and so he realizes that, like, hey, you know, because what started this in the first place was the fact that he was going to be running instead of the cheerleading captain, because the cheerleading captain sprained his ankle or whatever, and it's like, hey, Ishigami, we know that, you know, you used to be in track, you used to be really fast in track, so that's what got him into the state. So
then after that we go fast forward to
we fast forward to now, and then and then you see the girls saying, like, oh, you know, you suck, you know, you're the reason why I was in the state in the first place. And Ishigami, go to hell, dumbass. he puts that behind him and just immediately darts out. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but his it
was so upsetting.
It was so upsetting. It was upsetting to all of us too.
He was down.
He was down, but his crew was right there with him.
No, well, he started to shut himself down again because he lost, because he got second place.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to win so badly, he wanted to prove everyone again that he's not a, you know,
he's not a loser.
Not a loser, but he ended up, you know, getting himself down. But then that's when we didn't talk about it, where their faces weren't appearing like previous episodes.
They were to his eyes, they were normies, so he didn't bother like picturing what they looked like. Their eyes were all obscured, and you could only really see what their mouth and face looks like.
Certain times we'll see like the character's eyes, but then it would just go back to having the
blank expression. But then, like, as soon as he kind of like opened his eyes again, that's when he realizes that these are my teammates. These are my people. And that's when you were actually able to see his eyes, and it just hit so good. It was his episode, and oh my goodness, it was just so well done. And so it actually, and then towards the end of that episode, it actually turns out that Kaguya was what actually arranged the girl coming over, because she was actually not from the school. She was actually from a different school, and she just so happened to just kind of like come by and kind of like check out to see what was going on. Oh, and it turns out that what I forgot to mention was that the boyfriend, the asshole boyfriend, actually broke up with her days later, and was actually like super paranoid because of what was going on, because of the fact that Ishigami never submitted that letter of apology. So he was just paranoid as hell. And on top of that, Kaguya actually managed to use some of her wealth and power and such to actually transfer the boy so far away that he would just never come back in her life. So eventually that was kind of what Ishigami took that L for her sake. And again, it wasn't even for somebody that he knew all that well. It was just in his own good nature. But man, it was such a good episode. Like, it was the end. That was the end, by the way. But it was just such a good episode. I'm all for the laughs. I'm all for the jokes and comedy when it's, you know, since it's, you know, Kaguya, since it's Love is War. But man, this one was good. This is a great episode.
This was his story.
This was his story, and it was just, I got to know him a lot better. Like, I really can't wait to check out like the past episodes. No, but
prior to those episodes, we enjoyed him.
Yeah, he was an enjoyable character. Like, we didn't need.
Cause we always talk about, you know, Chica a lot and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
but
he's entertaining too. It's funny.
He is.
The whole group is always fun.
There's not one single member from the group that I don't like. Yeah. Like, I love them all. Yeah. That's great. All right, now moving on to our final episode of the anime of our anime here is The Great Pretender, and
episode 3.
Oh my goodness. So this episode
we're going to give our
we're going to let you guys know as to kind of like, you know, what our thoughts are or anything. But before that, the actual episode itself, my gosh, I really enjoyed this episode. This episode This episode was really something else.
The thing with this anime is they show you like the scene, and then later on, next episode, then they show you the reason why, or how it changed, or how it got to that point. So there's gonna be like a lot of
backpedaling.
Yeah.
Like it was basically like backtracking to see like kind of what happened in the previous episode and stuff, or kind of like the previous story. Yeah. So we actually get a little bit more context as to kind of like what Makoto did to kind of like win the director's heart over from the last episode, because it showed that he was kind of like walking under the highway and stuff and the sidewalk and all that, and all of a sudden an epiphany hit him as to kind of what he needed to do. So he goes to a video store and he rents out an old Steven Seagal-esque movie. And I say esque because it's basically just Steven Seagal.
Didn't it start off with the LAPD?
Yes, you're right. It did. Yes, it did. Yeah, you're right. So LAPD. So In-N-Out shows up.
Yeah, In-N-Out
shows up, and the LAPD
of course,
guys.
In-N-Out is always full.
It's a California thing. It's gonna be full, and so we see these LAPD guys just kind of like order food, and they're taking forever to order. So, and then we see honking in the background and everything like that, and they're eating. And my dude, the head honcho police guy, he eats the burger. He's like, oh my god, there's pickles in it. Blah. Throws in the burger.
Toss the burger,
like,
man.
you can't do that with an In-N-Out burger, man. This is good regardless. But yeah, and then after that, you find out that the LAPD is actually eyeing what was going on with the whole director itself. And then we get the whole backstory regarding what Makoto did. With how he even got to this whole...
So he starts seeing movies from that director,
so that way he could be able to take notes. Basically, what we do here whenever we record for the podcast.
He continues to watch the videos, all the movies, pretty much.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole night.
Yeah. And he acts out his master plan, which involves him, quote unquote, trying to hitch out a ride to back to Japan. He gets gut punched by the, by his guard, and he gets his minion, and he gets sent over to the directors, and he explains to himself like, hey, you know what, this miracle drug, I'm not worthy of helping you with this, all of that stuff, and.
He's homesick.
I don't want to go back, and the director's like, "Hey, I get it. Just watch a movie, show you what we're about." And he just fanboys all over the movie, and he's a con artist. He knows his stuff. He knows his shit when it comes to kind of like getting the information that he wants. And so as that was going on, he pulls out this story right out of his ass, just kind of talking about like how this miracle drug, I'll give you the formula too if you just double the price. I'm trying to tell you this right now, right? I'm trying to tell you that I'm trying to sell you my child. If I want to sell you my child, we gotta understand each other. This is your children. This movie's your child. This is my child right here, the miracle drug.
So then he makes him, convinces him to pay more.
Yeah, and it works so far because we cut to present day.
And then
we cut to present day, and it turns out that it worked out perfectly. But Money Man shows up. The director's money guy shows up, and they're just like, hey, we gotta check out his background. We don't know what's going on. So of course Makoto's just thinking to himself, hey, this is kind of bad. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah. So he was sitting down all nervously and like
they're so professional that he literally sends goons to Japan to make sure to physically background check to make sure that Makoto is legit or not.
Legit doctor.
And I was thinking, this guy's goose is cooked.
I already had it. I knew that.
Lauren? Yeah, Lauren had something going on, and it was great too because the way he did it was that he got the he got the con artist dude and like the former actress lady that was actually like part of the pharmaceutical company that was actually making the product itself, the miracle drug. And oh my god, they had the pictures and everything, and they got the quick interview done, and as soon as they were gone, they just hightailed it out of here and left, and the real physician was like, hey, what's going on here?
Who moved my stuff?
Who moved my stuff around? Oh my gosh, it was great.
So then we cut back to the...
Yeah, then we cut back to what was going on in LA.
I guess we're doing it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so... Well, how else are we gonna keep going and going with this?
The FBI, not FBI. Oh,
well, no, because he hugged him and he's like, okay, welcome to the family. Let me show you kind of like what's going on. And that's when the FBI the
LAPD was still watching.
The LAPD was watching, and then they were like, okay, we gotta go get him. So we got this really cool car chase, and oh my gosh, the car chase itself was animated so beautifully. You even have like the red lights, like the streaking lights that you see in like movies like Akira and stuff, and it was just so well done. It was just entertaining all around with the whole car chase. And then of course the LAPD, they were able to lose him, but it turns out that the LAPD was actually working underneath the director. So that way the LAPD could have something to report about, even though it's not actually the case. It was actually just him just saying, okay, you guys could just go do your thing. And when they finally get to the whole Coke lab, they're like, okay, so we're here. I know you got the recipe, but once I owned a sushi chef. I owned a sushi restaurant, and the sushi chef that we had originally was left, and the sushi wasn't the same. So I want you to show me how it's done. I want to know, even though you got the recipe here, I want you to show me how this works. Now, obviously, Makoto knows that this is all BS anyway. The drug isn't an actual drug, it's just candy. So they just come up with excuses like, hey, this right here, this isn't even sterile. I can't work in this environment. I'm used to my lab. I'm used to my lab coats. I'm used to my lab rats.
So he's pretty much digging himself a hole right now.
He's digging himself into a deeper hole than he needs to, and it is great. Because eventually what happens is the director's like, hey, that's fine.
That's fine. You know what? We'll stop for today.
We're gonna do
remodeling.
We're gonna do some remodeling. We're gonna set you up with the house. We're going to set you up with the house, and I'm going to have one of my personal goons room with you. And it was the same goon that gut punched him, too, when he was on his way to the airport. So that's great, right?
And then we get a view when we come back to the LAPD.
Yes.
They show
so
a new character.
So we know that the LAPD is corrupt. They're actually working underneath. But we get a straight-edged cop named Paula Dickens.
Not straight edge cop.
Well, she's FBI. She's FBI. Yeah, she's a straight edge FBI named Paula Dickens that wants to get to the bottom of to what the hell is going on with this director, as well as what is going on with this Asian con artist, aka Makoto. Because apparently Laurent is a huge deal when it comes to the frauding business. And the FBI wants to know what the hell is going on with that. So that's what Paula is here for. I can't wait to see what more she can offer with that. But that's kind of like where the episode ends. And with that being said, this episode sold me. I was already sold from the first episode onward, but for me, it just kept going up and up and up in quality. I'm just in it for the ride.
So, what is your rating so far?
So far, it's an 8.
Three.
First 3, it's a 8.5.
8.5.
8.5. It went from a 7-ish, like a high 7, to an 8.5 for me. I'm just absolutely.
I'll give it an 8 right now.
8, yeah.
8 for the 3.
Yeah, that's a good rating. Unfortunately, we don't have Omar here, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, after that car chase scene and everything, if Omar, whenever you get around watching this, I'm pretty sure you're gonna say the same thing too. We're gonna continue this definitely. Okay, and with that being said, all the anime that we've seen is done. So now we move on to some news. So Studio Ghibli releases some photos of its first CG feature, Earwig and the Witch, and the film itself is actually going to be directed by Goro Miyazaki, aka the son of Hayao Miyazaki. And it looks really interesting, like based off of the premise and stuff. Like it's based off of.
This is the first film that's gonna be.
It's the
CGI.
first. It's the first film that of Ghibli's that's actually going to be of Studio Ghibli that's actually going to be fully CG. It's computer generated entirely, and the visuals look pretty interesting. One thing that kind of
for what we got is just we have images.
We only have images. We don't know.
There's no trailer.
We don't have any trailers or anything like that. The images look pretty good. I like the character designs. I can't really say much about the animation since all we have are just stills. But it looks really cool. Like I honestly can't wait to see kind of like what they're gonna be doing with this. Again, it's Studio Ghibli, so it's gonna be pretty safe to say that it's gonna turn out pretty well. But we'll just have to wait and see. And plus, it's even though it's the son of Hayao Miyazaki, we don't know as to whether or not Goro could be able to continue that.
We'll see how his direction is.
Yeah. We'll definitely wait. We'll definitely wait and see. All right, and then the next piece of news that we're going to be following it up with is God of High School has a new anime trailer. It's the final trailer before the actual premiere happens on July 6th. And we get to actually see more of the characters in this one. A couple of the characters that kind of stood out for me was this bat dude that was kind of like introduced. We get to see like more, just more character introductions in general.
No, well, to me, in general, I just like seeing the martial arts or the
yes.
fighting.
Oh, then the fighting in general. Fighting. Well, the fighting was definitely more showcased. It was definitely part of the centerpiece here. It was just all around just a lot of fun just to keep up with and just kind of like check out and see.
It's crazy because I was just picturing just fighting in general, but there's also weapons in there too.
There's weapons and stuff. It's basically all like everything goes kind of thing. Like it is really impressive to see kind of like what the hell's going on. And it's handled by Studio Mappa, who directed a lot of like great shows like the Dororo remake, the Inuyashiki. Like they're a really good studio for this kind of stuff. And of course, it's another webtoon adaptation, so we'll see kind of where this goes. I'm excited.
Me as well.
All right. And now moving on from anime news, we're going to be talking about some game news. Kingdom Hearts, actually not even a couple days ago, like 5 or so days ago, released a trailer called Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. It is a rhythm game spin-off, as I like to call it.
Game?
It's a rhythm game. No, it's a rhythm game that involves Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora, Donald and Goofy running along this track, and you're basically hitting buttons. It's basically Persona 4 Arena, or like just not Arena, Persona 4 Dancing, like any of the dancing games.
This one's weirder because isn't it like just 3 sections?
Yeah, it's like a 3D. It's like a 3D like runner.
Roll?
It's a runner basically.
Yeah.
It's a runner, but it's like you have to press the buttons, and the backgrounds are like these, like the maps or like moments and scenes from like the other Kingdom Hearts games, and I mean, I would like to say it's a simple like rhythm game,
but no.
But apparently, that second half of that trailer showed off plot, because Kairi. Again, spoilers for anybody that hasn't played Kingdom Hearts 3. But it's minor spoilers. But it's Kairi, and what happened with Sora at the end is gonna play a pretty big part in what's gonna happen in the game, and I'm really curious to see what it is. So even though this is a quote-unquote spin-off game, it's definitely going to have a lot of bearing to the plot. I'll just say that much. So again, we'll see. And it's slated for a 2020 release, so I think it's probably going to come out probably later 2020, like halfway, like maybe end of 2020, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's I don't know, we'll see. And last but not least, a couple of Pokemon announcements had happened. One of which is something huge for me personally. Omar and David don't really care for this that much, but I most certainly do. As Pokemon Smile I'm just kidding. No, it's Pokemon Snap. But I guess to kind of like get Pokemon Smile out of the way, Pokemon Smile released. It's Shadow dropped pretty much the same time. It's an app that's meant for you to.
We gotta say that there was a Pokemon event.
Yeah, there was a Pokemon event that happened. It was kind of a low key one too. Like they didn't really like advertise it on Twitter as much or just any social media in general. And it happened super early in the morning too, like 6 a.m. Like our time, Pacific time, 6 a.m. And yeah, it didn't seem like there was gonna be like a lot of like cool things that were gonna be shown off or anything. So the first of which, in that event, the first of which that we're gonna be talking about is Pokemon Smile, and it's basically just an app game that you just kind of like put to your face while you're brushing your teeth, and you catch Pokemon while you brush your teeth. So that's kind of really innovative. That's really cool. Like, it actually kind of gets kids to brush their teeth way more often. So that's a pretty cool novel concept. I like it. But the thing that I wanted to talk about though is Pokemon Snap. Now, I grew up playing Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap was one of my first big entries into the Pokemon games personally, and it was just amazing. You go take pictures of Pokemon and stuff, and this is gonna be a sequel. This is a full-on sequel with all the different like Pokemon from now. It's also being developed by Bandai Namco, which isn't Game Freak or anything. So I'm really excited to see kind of where this is gonna go, and I don't know. I'm just really stoked and excited for this. We'll see. It's slated to have a 2020 release, as far as I know. I don't even know if it's gonna be a budget title or not, because taking pictures of Pokemon doesn't sound too exciting. But oh my gosh, I feel like it's gonna be amazing. To me, it's gonna be amazing. But anyway, I'm not gonna gush out too much. We're gonna be ending the episode right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, comment the video, and subscribe if you guys love what you're seeing here. And as always, my name is Robbie.
And this is David.
And we'll see you guys next week, hopefully with Omar. Bye-bye.
Laters.